6 o'clock.
Hey, Jack.
Vic? We're all set.
How you doing, sir?
Jack, we're all set? Okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to do to start the meeting today is resident comments, 3 minutes per speaker. Please go ahead.
Chairman Bill, ladies and gentlemen of the Sandoval HOA Board, including Todd Reinhardt. I can remember when he once told me, if you loan me $100 and put it in the bank, you'll feel a little safe with that. But if we loan you $2 million, we won't feel too good about that. But I'm here because I'm a resident of your community. But we're in the Anguilla Street in Pamlico, and right now we're getting new roofs. If you're using Anguilla as a cut-through, maybe you don't want to do that, because we have the street sometimes blocked with trucks, trailers, lifts. Right now we have about 9 homes that have been peeled and dried in, and we have one with 10 or the metal roof, and 2 planned in the next couple of days of having metal roofs on those. A little story about getting okay from Chuck, though. The first day, you knew I was going to get you.
Yeah, you got me.
The first day we had trouble getting through the gate. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to get 25 people through a gate, but we got them through. And then we got the porta pot through, and they said, no, turn that thing around and get it out of here. I called Chuck about, just about a minute before quitting time, I think. And he and Brian came down in their little, the first day we had trouble getting through the gate. Green, nothing runs like a deer, go-kart. And we walked down to the staging site where the equipment is. Chuck kicked a couple things around and says, looks like a good spot right over there for that porta pot. And today, folks, if you rode by, I don't think you would even see it. And I'm here to thank all of you. Thank you, Chuck, and Brian, and Chris has been by there a number of times, and I tell him go out and wear out old Todd because he's no competition yet. Thanks to all of you. Good night.
Thanks, buddy.
Let me fill in the blanks there. That was Levick Bentley, and Levick was my mentor when I started in the banking business 40 years ago. And so Levick is near and dear to my heart. So that's the story on our relationship. So
it's Levick's fault.
It's Levick's fault.
Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. I now would like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to establish a quorum. John Elkins.
Here.
Dave Ott.
Here.
Andrew Emmerich.
Here.
Todd Reinhardt. Here. Lynn Smith.
Here.
Beth Ann Hulsey.
Here.
Bill Simonelli is here. We have a quorum. And with us also is Chuck Keel, Associate Gulf Coast General Manager, who's also going to show us his dance moves. We talked about that last month. Okay.
For the record, it was 1 Macarena and 3 chicken dances.
Very good. All right. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from our board meeting of March 28th, 2024.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No nays? Okay, pass unanimously. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the executive board meeting of April 1st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No nays?
Okay, that is approved. Those minutes are approved unanimously. Okay. Now I'd like to go to the President's report. Good evening, and I'd like to welcome everyone that is attending this monthly meeting in person and virtually. All our committees have been very active, and at tonight's meeting, we will be getting an update on the various projects that are underway by the committees. Unfortunately, due to several issues that our treasurer will discuss in detail during this report, Sandoval does not have financial statements for January, February, and March to share with the community. This is an unacceptable situation for the association, and these issues are being escalated to the Associate Gulf Coast Senior Management and being dealt with as quickly as possible. As of late this afternoon, I received correspondence from the president of the region, and we are working to set up a face-to-face meeting with him in the next 10 days to try to work on a resolution of these issues. Although Levick's still some of our thunder here, on the positive side, we are seeing the villas are getting their new roofs installed, and myself and the board would like to commend the Villa One's board for all the hard work that they did to get their roof homes to this point. I also understand from the Somerville Rec Association that they are making progress towards their goal of replacing the Ian-damaged roofs, and I'm sure we are all rooting for their success. Before I make a quick summary of today's agenda, I would like to inform the community of some important steps being taken by the board on behalf of the association. Hurricane Ian was once in a generational event for Southwest Florida. We have all been impacted by the storm one way or another. Since Ian, the Architectural Review Committee has handled close to 500 roof replacement applications out of the 1,187 standalone houses in our community. We also know that some of our neighbors are still working through the insurance and civil litigation process to settle their roof replacement claim. While almost all the roof replacements to date have abided by the revised board-approved roof material guidelines, a small number of owners have chosen not to abide by the community design guidelines. The Sandoval Board has in the past stated that it will take advantage of the means provided by the Sandoval's governing documents and the applicable laws of the state of Florida to achieve compliance with the community design guidelines. The board must balance what can be achieved with these efforts and what is in the best interest of the community. To that end, the association is working with our legal counsel to achieve a binding settlement agreement with each owner that is deemed to have a non-compliant roof. The terms of the proposed settlement have been sent to each owner, and Sandoval's legal counsel will be representing the association to finalize the settlement agreement with them. I will update the community on the progress of those efforts. The board takes seriously its responsibility to maintain and improve the value of the Sandoval community, and we believe that adherence to community design guidelines is one of the crucial tasks we must undertake to achieve this objective. At the conclusion of today's board meeting, I will be available to answer any owner's questions to the extent that I can about these actions. Turning to today's meeting agenda, under old business, the management company will verify that the conditions of last month's motion to conditionally approve the Memorial 5K race have been met. We will consider approving additional committee applications, and the Landscape Committee will be presenting a proposal for the first phase of the post-Ian common landscape restoration. Under new business, we will be considering a motion to create a subcommittee under the Amenities Committee to focus on the condition of the dog parks and provide recommendations for the maintenance of these important amenities. We will also consider approving a time and material contract with Juniper Landscaping for storm debris removal as we approach hurricane season. And we will finally be considering a motion that will set up process and a timeline to restore ARC application fees that were waived post-Ian. Now I'd like to turn it over to the treasurer for his report.
All right. We met with the SOCIA on Monday to discuss all the issues that we're having with our financials, and we made it pretty clear about our dissatisfaction with their services. Something we did to help speed up corrective actions is Bill, Chuck, and I will have a conference call with the Vice President of Operations every Monday until all issues are resolved. And that's really all there is to say.
Yeah.
I can tell you, though, that the Fifth Third account has $3,518,260 in it, with a yield of 3.4%. The reserve account has $124,992 in it. On a positive note, it looks like home sales are improving. As of April 22nd, we've had 25 homes close in 2024.
Do we have any questions from the board for Dave?
No, Bill.
All right, thank you. Okay. The next item on our agenda is to consider 3 violations.
I would like a motion to approve the violations as presented in the packet.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving these violations, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all opposed. Okay. The next item on the report is our general manager's report.
Thank you. So, I did watch the meeting, last month's meeting when I wasn't here. So I do realize I had an action item to follow up on, which was the security, the additional security for spring break, and give a status on that. We had, during the first shift, we had 6 interactions with bicycle riders that were physically on the road. That first shift, the security guard intervened and took care of that situation. They also identified and stopped 2 youth, 2 times, youth attempting to climb the fence at the end of Lambay. Maintenance has modified that fence, so it deters climbing, and doesn't make it as easy to get over that fence. They did witness 2 bicyclists striking the gate bar, and they intervened there. So I proclaim it a success. I think it was worth the money. I think just by them with their physical presence. Again, there's this TikTok challenge where they do bicycle wheelies into cars. They kind of scattered those kids and got them moving on. They also removed at least 6 juveniles, I guess, that could not prove that they knew someone here, lived here. So I think going into next year and next year's budget, it's something to consider. The Finance Committee can consider this as something that's worth taking a consideration. For the month of April, well, first I want to go back and say last month we had 5 violations. All 5 violations have paid. This month we had 5 gate strikes. 2 have been recovered and 3 are pending. I'd also like to report on the pool. The underwater lights have been replaced, so the pool is completely operational. We look forward to our Board of Health inspection in July. And then on another note with the Ashbury sidewalk, the vendor has been notified. The vendor is working to get us on their schedule so we can proceed with getting that sidewalk in. After the sidewalk goes in, Juniper will do the sod and landscaping around it. So I'll keep you up to date on that. That's all I have. Is there any questions?
Is any board? Yes.
Just a comment, is there, when you talk about reissuing for the security to the Finance Committee, is there any concern in regards to making that permit, adding that day shift? Since it was so successful, would there be any consideration for that?
If we do, we need with next year's budget. That's
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
something to talk about, yes. Yeah.
I think it should be.
As a follow-up question, do we have any intention to do this on a certain basis during the summer?
It was discussed. Obviously, it wasn't budgeted for, so we're being very gentle as to and strategic about when we want to go ahead and spend that money. But it was a consideration. It's obviously when the kids are out of school. And during summer, we have a lot of visitors, kids, everybody's coming here to see grandma and grandpa. So we want to kind of keep it as an item that we'd like you to consider. But no, it has not been budgeted. So.
It was money well spent.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck, would it be possible to get an estimate of what the cost would be if we wanted to do something for the summer vacation months?
Yeah, and their contract is clearly laid out what their hourly rate is.
So could you get that to us, please, and then we can give us a hard discussion point that we can have for this, put this discussion to bed one way or another. Thank you.
Any other questions?
And any other questions for the general manager? Okay, all right. The next item on the agenda is old business, and just because I know one of the items is going to take a little bit longer, what I'd like to do is to do the confirmation of the 5K race first. Chuck, can you go over that with us, please?
Yes, in the packet, there's 2 standing requirements that were requested by the board. In your packet, you will find the participation waiver, which all runners must sign, print and sign their name, and also the insurance certificate, which outlines subrogation and additionally insured, is also in your packet.
May I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
The word air, is that the correct spelling of air? I've just never heard of air executors. Is it supposed to be H-E-I-R or A-I-R?
You're in
on the waiver?
And the waiver.
My
Type of
air.
sentence. Far right.
Oh, yeah, my air too, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was taken off, they have like an online registration.
Gotcha. Right.
So it's kind of probably a bad cut and paste on our part.
Okay.
Just don't want to give them a loophole.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, is there any disagreement that the conditions have been met? Okay. Let's all race. Okay. The next thing I'd like to do is to discuss additional committee applications. What I understand is that we've had a rash of applications coming in over the last couple of weeks, even up to the last half hour or so.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to send, and we'll work with Chuck, and we'll get a list of everybody that we think is applied for a committee, and make sure that everybody has a copy of all the liaisons have a copy of all the applications. And then we need to verify the accuracy of this list, and then we will vote on this list in its entirety at the next board meeting to solve this once and for all, okay? Additionally, I need each liaison to verify not only that a member is, that the list of committee members is correct, but that every committee member has submitted the Code of Ethics page, okay? Now, we do have,
Those go into Chuck, do they not?
then they should come to the various liaisons and chairpersons for vetting. Right.
Some of the miscommunication, we have some longstanding committee members, and there was some miscommunication as to whether or not they need to re-up every year, fill out the application all over again. So I think that kind of, next year, I think we should really be very definitive. Whether you're on the committee or not, you have to reapply, and the board has to reappoint. And I think that kind of got us off whack a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll get this all squared away by the end of next month. But obviously, committees are going. There are 2 members that we are going to approve consideration for approving tonight. The first one is Kathleen Faustini has applied to become a member of the Rules Committee. Do I have a motion for that?
I would like to motion that Kathleen be appointed to the committee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it true that there's a caveat attached to that application?
I'll have to look. I don't remember seeing
I
one.
heard that there was a caveat attached that she would only be a member if no lawyer was allowed to be on the committee.
I wish I could do that.
In which case I would vote no.
I am not aware of
That-
any
I'm not-
discussions with her,
Okay.
I don't see that on this committee.
and it's not going to be
Yeah, okay.
position us to say no.
All right. Do we have any other discussion? All
You
right.
had another person, though. You said you had two.
Well, let's vote on this person first. So all in favor, Kathleen, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. 6-1. The second person that we need to review is David Kohler.
No, Gene Dold.
Gene Dodd, I'm sorry. Looking at the wrong name. For the Art Committee, do I have a motion?
Yes, I would motion that Gene be approved to serve on the art committee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, unanimous? Okay. All right. The last item under old business is Landscape Committee Common Area Shrub Restoration Proposal. So Dave, I'll give you the floor for that.
All right. As you guys are aware, we put in the budget for the next 3 years to spend $100,000 a year restoring the common area landscaping. What the committee did was we identified areas where residents have lost their privacy as a result of the hurricane. You walk down the Esplanade, you can look right into people's eyes. So the landscape committee would like to begin utilizing that money to come in and restore the landscaping in those areas first. We have, we received 3 bids. One was for $153,000, another one was for $131,000, and the third one is for $108,000. What I would like to do is, Juniper was the lowest bidder, and I would like to propose that we go with Juniper and we don't exceed $100,000.
That's your motion? We'll discuss this in more detail once we've made the motion.
Yes, my motion is that we approve the spending of $100,000 to restore common areas.
A second.
Okay, second. Okay. All right, discussion.
Yes, this is in our, this would be a reserve item, or would be a hurricane reserve item, but it's not the money that we've allocated from our hurricane assessment.
Go ahead, Dave.
I thought it was just put in as part of the reserve.
That's correct.
But it is covered by our hurricane assessment.
It is not, because this was considered to be discretionary and not covered by the emergency conditions that govern the
So this is an
hurricane.
addition, but it is budgeted.
It is in the,
Yes,
it is, there is a line item in the budget that we approved.
Okay.
Okay.
And if anybody's interested in the packet, there's a spreadsheet that, let me back up. If you look at those maps, and there's a third one, there's only 2 easy. There's maps at every area of the common area that suffers damage. And then the spreadsheets that I included identify where on those maps we're looking to begin restoration.
Okay.
So, if anybody wants to look at it, they're more than welcome.
So there's 8 line items that you've identified with phase 1, Dave, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And just for the community, could you just give a quick summary of each one of these?
Of which,
Just start at the top, veterans entrance.
all right, outside the gate, on veterans, right before you reach it's right by the exit gates, there was magnolia trees that shielded the Somerville condos from both traffic and noise. Those were completely wiped out. So we want to fill that in with something other than what was there because the landscapers basically said that is not a very good tree for hurricanes.
Right.
So and the other thing to know is that we're not looking to take anything out that's alive. We're only looking to fix what's bare.
Fill in the gaps.
Yes. Then, if you proceed down inside on Sandoval Boulevard by Birdmont, there's areas right by the houses that shrubs missing, and it's pretty much that way all the way down. Between Birdmont and Blackburn, there's a lot of hibiscus that we're missing, so they want to fill that back in with hibiscus, because it's not that every hibiscus bush is gone, so that's why they want to fill it in with the same type of plant. Sandoval Boulevard between Birdmont and Blackburn, it's the same thing, filling in the gaps because there's shrubs already there. They want to use the same kind of shrubs. Between Blackburn and Greendale, it's hibiscus, and also they're looking at, there were some areas where we could just put some sod in where a tree came out, because there's a big bed and there's no point in, the most economical way is to just put in the bushes and then put some sod down where there's big gaps. Let's see. And then,
So,
Dave, could I suggest that we post this on livesandoval.com, that way residents can look and see what to expect? Is that reasonable?
I have to figure out a way to
Or at least send an email out?
get the
yeah, well,
gaps.
let's work on getting the communication out. Because
Yeah.
I think the landscape committee's done a lot of work on this.
Well, it's the hardest working committee we've got.
Yeah.
They're
Just-
great.
Yeah, because essentially what you're doing is in phase one, you're focusing on the Esplanade, essentially from the entrance through to Blackburn and Greendale. Yeah, and Sutherland. That's the focus for phase one, to get that initial part of the community up to snuff.
And we broke that out for each of the 3 phases.
Good. Yeah, and I think this is good, and,
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I want to make people aware of is when we had these bids, we asked everybody to bid on the exact same thing, so that we could compare apples to apples. Juniper's comment was, well, we wouldn't put as many bushes in that they're calling for. So I'm hoping the overall cost comes down.
you mean over the 3 to 4 years?
3 to 4 years,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, good. Any other questions on this item? Okay.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're ready to go to vote on this? Okay. All right. All in favor of accepting the motion to spend $100,000 on phase one of the common area posting and restoration, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Passed unanimously. All right, thanks to the Landscape Committee for all the hard work they did to pull this plan together. Hopefully there won't be another storm to mess it up. Okay. Yes, under new items, let's...
Take one and pass it along.
Okay.
Currently, there's a limited attention given to the care and maintenance of the Sandoval dog parks. The Landscape Committee doesn't want it, and although the parks are part of Sandoval amenities, there's only maybe one dog park user on the amenities committee. Therefore, I move that we create a committee of 5 members, a subcommittee, organized under amenities to monitor the health and use of Sandoval 2 dog parks. The committee will monitor the condition of our dog parks and make recommendations to the Sandoval Board as need arises. I have 4 individuals who've expressed interest in becoming members: Dave O'Donnell, Kristen Engel, Jim Lilly, and Diane Kenny, and we'll need one more if those are acceptable, but we have to get their applications and so forth.
I assume they're all dog owners.
Mark?
I assume they're all dog owners.
They're all dog owners, and they really do help to fix things at the park when they can. So anyway, my motion is to create that subcommittee.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll
I second.
Okay. Discussion? Does anybody have any comments or discussion on this item?
The only comment that I have is I would like to see if we can get someone from the landscape committee to be a part of the subcommittee. Just because any way you look at it, it's going to involve landscape. So,
Sounds reasonable to me.
all right, then I will try to recruit one for you.
Okay, all right, good.
John, will this subcommittee meet with the regular amenities, so there's no need for a liaison or anything of that nature?
No, they'll meet on their own.
All right.
And I'll volunteer to be their liaison since I'm good
Oh,
at it.
we haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's get the motion passed. Okay. All right, so any more questions or comments or discussion on this motion? All right, all in favor of creating a subcommittee of 5 members organized under our amenities committee to monitor the health and use of Sandoval's 2 dog parks? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, nope. Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion on the board liaison to this committee, subcommittee?
Bill, I'd like to make a motion to make John Elkins the board liaison for the new dog park subcommittee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Does he have a dog?
My wife does.
Just wondering.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes, I got a dog.
Okay.
Her name is Susie.
And I've met her.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Good luck, John.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's, on a more serious note, let's talk about, we sort of jumped ahead. Let's talk about the Juniper Landscaping Hurricane Cleanup Contract. No, we didn't.
Oh, we did, oh, new one. That's a new one. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this was, yeah, we did the,
Yeah, made up.
right, okay. So,
This is the one where we got stuck with $450,000 with Crawford last year.
well, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
What time
So,
it is.
first of all, I would like to make a motion to accept the contract as amended by the Risk Management Committee to, subject to further negotiations with Juniper for a time and materials contract.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion on this. So what I'd like to add is last year, basically a year ago this month, we approved a similar contract with Crawford based on our experience with Hurricane Ian the previous year. And what we did at that time, a year ago, is that we put a cap on the contract of $250,000, which is the current cap in this contract, to make sure that they do not exceed that before we've had a chance to authorize any additional expenditures. When we looked at the rates of this contract during the landscape review process last year, the rates were within pretty close to the Crawford rates that we had approved last year. I think there was a slight increase in the labor rate, if I'm not mistaken. So I would recommend that we have this, and this is one of many steps to prepare the community for the hurricane season over the next several months.
Bill, based on the performance during Hurricane Ian, do we have an idea of how long roughly in hours or months to understand that $250,000 will get us through?
Yes, I mean, I can sit down with Dave and we can backtrack from the Crawford landscape, the hours that were spent on each particular task.
So we feel that's adequate enough to get us back up and running?
Yes.
All right.
Now, if we hit a Category 5, that's different. I mean, this is, we're hopeful that we don't ever experience at least that in the next few years.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other questions or comments on this? Okay. Are we ready to vote on this? Okay. All in favor of approving going into contract negotiations with Juniper to finalize this contract, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No one opposed. Okay. Okay, the next item under new business is the motion from Andrew to work on the process for sunsetting ARC fees and deposit waivers for Hurricane Ian.
Yes, sir, I'll read the resolution. A resolution by the Sandoval Community Association, Inc., referred to as the Association. Whereas there was a significant natural disaster on September the 28th of 2022 affecting our community Sandoval, the city of Cape Coral, and the greater Southwest Florida area. The association has waived architectural review requests, application fees, and project deposits on projects related to Hurricane Ian damage since that natural event's occurrence. Be it resolved that the association will resume the requirement of an architectural review request application fee and project deposit starting on July the 1st, 2024 for all applications. Association owners may continue to make architectural review requests without application fees and projects deposits on Hurricane Ian-related damage repairs until June the 30th, 2024. Thorough applications will be reviewed for completeness and compliance with the architectural standards of the Sandoval Community Association. Those applications may be approved or denied based on the information provided. However, in order to provide homeowners and members still facing legal processes surrounding Hurricane Ian damage and/or insurance claims, the association will permit the submission of pending applications for conditional architectural review. Those applications submitted on or before June the 30th, 2024 that seek to avoid application fees and projects deposits must include proof of legal action being taken to resolve an outstanding insurance claim with a letter of verification from the homeowner's attorney. In addition to the verification of legal action, homeowners must submit information on the project being considered, including a preliminary scope of work and the materials being considered for the repair. Information provided on the materials must include color selection based on the approved color schemes within the architectural standards and covenants, conditions, and restrictions of the Sandoval Community Association. All owners who submit a pending application are responsible to update the ARC application with any changes being considered from the original application. Additionally, once the owner has decided to proceed with the project, a revised and complete ARC application must be submitted to the ARC for final approval to proceed with the project. Upon approval and execution of this resolution dated April the 25th, 2024, architectural review application fees and project deposits will again be required with all applications starting July the 1st, 2024 for all architectural review applications. I motion that we approve this resolution.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Discussion on this motion. Start at this end. Any comments?
I think it's reasonable.
I support it fully.
Okay. So basically what this motion is doing is it's giving homeowners a 60-day time period from today to complete a preliminary application for the roof or an ice screen repair if they're still in litigation regarding getting a claim satisfied. All we're asking for is that the homeowner provide proof that they are still in litigation and that give us a preliminary review of the materials that they are selecting so that we can verify that the materials being selected will be in compliance with our guidelines, and that once they are ready to proceed with the product, they have to update, excuse me, once they are ready to proceed with the project, they have to provide an updated application to the ARC noting all changes from the original application that was submitted and preliminary approved.
And that may also include contractor information
Right.
and insurance, et cetera.
Right. So we're now looking, so as we notice, because when you do a normal application, you have to provide proof of insurance and workman's compensation coverage by your contractor. That's not required at this point, but we do require the homeowner to make a selection on the materials that they want to go forward with on their repair project. All right, are you ready to vote on this? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Okay, we're done with new business. Committee reports. The first report is the Ad hoc Communications Internet Committee. I believe Steve is here to give an update.
Hey, Steve.
Well, let's do some housekeeping here. We have 5 members of the committee, and Alice Short and Bill Duncan, and Bill Overhauser
Yeah.
had filled out some of the paperwork which we need to. Thanks, Steve. Officially. Some more. We've really cranked up the committee. We now have 2 Zoom meetings completed with consulting firms that we're looking at in an effort to relieve the committee from doing a lot of the heavy lifting in order to find another purveyor for our internet services if appropriate. We have 1 more meeting tomorrow, and then the committee will convene meeting at 10 o'clock on Monday in this room in an effort to try to discuss what we heard and what we think our best options are to move forward with solving the issue of the existing quantum contract, technologies, and other contractual issues that we need to be aware of as we move forward. Doesn't mean we're going to hire a consultant. There's a lot of baggage contained in their proposal. So, you have to thoroughly vet them, make everybody aware of what the potholes are in the road so we don't injure our car. The 3 that we're looking at are Paradigm, which we had a meeting with yesterday. Today we had a meeting with Community Cable Consultants, and then tomorrow we have YFI Consultants. So again, we'll report out on Monday. Any questions?
Any questions for Steve? Okay.
Okay, cool.
I can just say that after seeing through those 2 meetings, they both have been pretty thorough in terms of giving the committee a lot to think about in terms of what options and choices we have to look at going forward.
It's been really enlightening, I thought.
Yeah.
And we asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
They seem to have the answers to a great extent, and suggestions on how we can move forward in the most cost-effective way and get best bandwidth for our buck.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll note is that at the end of Lambay, you installed barbed wire on top of the gate where a lot of people had been jumping across. One section of that barbed wire has been removed. I'm serious.
What did you say?
You can't make this stuff up.
Oh,
We have to electrify it.
Oh, get the lawyers on that one.
Or upgraded to razor wire.
It is barbed wire.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Steve,
All right,
it's a
thanks,
climbing
Steve.
deterrent.
All right, next committee report is landscaping. Dave, are you giving the report, or is the chairperson giving the report?
I'll give it.
Okay.
Juniper has been in here for approximately 7 weeks for bulk, and they're not up to speed yet. We're still working with them, trying to get them caught up. But overall, we feel that they're doing a very good job. But we'll continue to work with them. We meet twice a month with them. Dave Keel, who's the account manager, he's very approachable. We can contact him just about any time while he's on site and he'll meet with us. So overall, I think they're doing an excellent job. And that's it.
Okay, any questions for Dave? Okay. Communications. So the Communications Committee met approximately 2 weeks ago, and our focus is still on getting Life Sandoval up to snuff, doing a lot of cleanup and standardization of the website, and making sure that the content on the website is up to date and accurate. Another key effort by the Communications Committee is to look at trying to revive the Sandoval newsletter, and I think there's been some communications out about looking for volunteers to help become copywriters with the effort, and if anybody's interested in being part of this project to restart the newsletter for the community, please reach out to the Communications Committee, and I'm sure we'll be happy to have you help us. The other thing that we're poking at is we're starting to look at recovery capability of our website, getting answers to where backups are being held and our ability to maintain our own backups in the case of a catastrophic failure, so that we could recover our website in the case of an unfortunate incident. So we're just working with the vendor on trying to get some answers and looking at some third-party solutions that might help out with that. Okay. The next one is ARC.
Bill, I'll be happy to provide an update on ARC. Just to advise the community as a whole, or the association as a whole, we did have 2 resignations earlier in the month. Unfortunately, one of those resignations was the chairperson of the committee. So at this point, I'm, as liaison to the committee, I'm acting as the interim chairperson. We have been able, thankfully, to get the membership of the committee now, with tonight's approval, up to 4 members and myself. We do need to add that 5th member. When it comes to voting on approval and denial of applications, I'm making the best effort not to vote on those items. I leave it to the other committee members to approve or deny the applications. When it comes to an appeal here to the board, as long as I'm acting as a committee member and the interim chairperson, I will not be voting on those appeals. There is a conflict of interest with my participation at the committee level at this point. That said, we did have 39 total applications this month, so it is significantly less than we've seen. 30 of those applications were actually at the April 6th meeting. Only 9, or actually, pardon me on that, there were 10. It was an incomplete application, but 10 at the April 20th. On the initial meeting, we did have 10 approvals, 20 denials. Those denials were based on insurance concerns. The ARC committee reached out to risk management. Risk management helped clarify the situation. And unfortunately, I don't know the exact number, but a good chunk of those 20 were reapproved and allowed to move forward. On the meeting that was held this past Saturday, of the 10 applications reviewed, only 2 were denied and 8 were approved. The denials were basically on color choices. Yes?
Most of them roofs?
Actually, in the last group, we only had 2 or 3 roofs out of those 10. The rest were other projects. We actually had 1 application for a pool and the ad finally. So
I see the end of the tunnel.
The tunnel is either at the end or we're paused. I think we will see after tonight's resolution how many more items need to be addressed. Ideally, John, I think that's the goal, is to get the conversation going with those folks that still need roof replacements as well. That said, I'm very glad that we have approved that additional number tonight. We can continue to grow it.
Yep.
Okay, and that was the update.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Andrew? Okay. Social Committee, John?
Yeah, do I need to read the membership? Don't need to do that?
Don't need to do it today.
Okay. Well, you know, we still have a co-chair of Anita Zamardino and Laura Bernard, and they're still in place. The social committee is a really hard-working committee, and they work along with Jessica, have kept the party going, as you well know. They meet twice a month, and rather than give a whole detailed stuff, I'll just read you what's on the next schedule. Spring screening on the 26th, bicycle safety, comedian sold out on the 3rd, Cinco de Mayo, poolside music and giveaways, Domino's night on the 10th, Mother's Day tea on the 11th, a shredding event, which we should all take advantage of because it's free for us, on May 18th, and then we have the escape room, which should be a gas, on May 18th. That's social committee report.
All right. Thank you, John. Any questions for John? Okay. John, can you speak on amenities and gym?
Amenities did not meet this month. Do we have anything new that we want to talk about? No, we do not have a report.
If I can, there is an open item. There is that rowing machine.
Oh, yes, okay.
It was brought forward, but unfortunately, we didn't have all three proposals. Ryan actually is on an emergency out this week, so I didn't have it in time to get all three quotes, but that should be on the next agenda for next month.
I'm sorry, I missed it. I do have an addition to the committee. Stan Toro. Stan expressed an interest in it. I called him again today. He's clearly would be a member particularly looking after the rec center. So.
Okay. Yeah, and we just need to obviously make sure that that goes to the Finance Committee before the board meeting next month. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Safety and security, Lynn?
I'm just briefly working on all of that great report to tell you from the results that closed down on a questionnaire regarding the traffic flow. And that closed down the 31st of March. And stay tuned for further announcement as to how we're going to roll out the information to everybody. Working on a couple of other projects in regards to the bids that we've gotten in for the painting of the crosswalks, and that's ready to go forward to finance, and that's it for now.
Okay. Very good. Lakes Committee.
And we've got a specialist to tell you about the Lakes Committee. Busy people, and Jane?
The Lakes Committee, the next meeting is May 16th, if anyone wants to attend. We have quotes for shoreline repair. There's several areas of shoreline repair for the community. There's just lots of linear feet that need to be repaired. The committee has identified those areas that are the worst, so in the most need of repair, and we're going to include those in a detailed RFP to the three vendors so that we can compare apples to apples, as they say, for those areas that are most severe and in need of repair. We're currently trying to schedule visits to customers for each of these vendors to see the work they have done. We want to look at areas that they repaired many years ago, see how it stood up, and see how it looks over, if they've done smaller sections on a lake instead of an entire lake. Still trying to schedule that with everyone in the committee. There are 3 lakes that are having severe reoccurring algae blooms. Solitudes, our current maintenance vendor, has tried several different treatments, and they have not responded to that. We are currently reviewing a proposal for an additional treatment that would not be covered as part of our current maintenance contract. So it would be an extra fee, but we will review that and see if that's a good proposal to go forward with. We could use more committee members if anyone would like to join us, and the meeting schedule is posted at Live Sandoval. Any questions?
All right.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. Finance?
Finance. Since I've taken over treasurer, I've learned a lot, but I realize there's a heck of a lot more that I have to learn. The members of the finance committee have been helpful, and I think that they're a good group of people, and I look forward to having numbers at the next meeting.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Kyle? Blue Covenants?
The Covenants Committee met on the 18th of April. No issues to report. There was some confusion in regards to the fining process for gate strikes. Chuck has provided clarification information on that, which has been forwarded to the committee chair. So hopefully that will help move it forward. But other than that, all is well in Covenants.
Very good. Risk management.
Risk management. I got good news, I got bad news. What you want first?
Let's get the bad news.
The certificate of insurance for, I just looked at it and I apologize. The insurance for the race is short. The board voted for a $2 million limit. It's only $1 million. So if you would take a look at that, that would be super outstanding. So sorry that I just caught that now, but it shouldn't be an issue. Risk management. Good news is we've entered into an agreement with Certificial, who is a third-party vendor that will solve most of our certificate of insurance exposures. And the good news is tomorrow, Chuck, Craig Schneider, Bill Dunker, and myself are going to participate in an onboarding with them. And we'll be establishing templates for certain vendors and providing them a vendor list in order to get that up and running. So that will relieve Chuck and the staff a lot of the guesswork on insurance certificates. So
And that's the social community one too.
yes, so it will be a very nice tool to have for us as an association. That's all I have.
Okay, very good. Strategic planning?
So strategic planning met on the 8th this month, meeting again on Monday, the 29th. We are in desperate need of new members, so I plead to the community to please come forward. In our meeting, we reviewed what the current strategic plan is, what needs to be updated. We're also looking at something new that came, and that's regards to the FEMA and what we can, if we can have any input in that, we will. There's a possibility of inviting somebody in to discuss specifics in regards to FEMA and how that affects us. So that's something that we're looking forward to in the future.
So when you're referring to FEMA, specifically, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the 25% that we'll
Being in
have to
jeopardy.
incur, yes. That's
Okay.
what I'm referring to.
Right. Yeah, so for background information, so apparently FEMA notified Lee County that they were going to sunset the subsidized 25% discount on flood insurance because Lee County had not met certain criteria according to the federal government. And there's been a lot of talk about this in the news, that especially not every town in, not every city in Lee County was affected by it. And Cape Coral seems to have been surprised by it specifically. So there's a strong effort that's been put on hold by FEMA. And there's been a full court press by the Cape Coral government and our federal representatives to get this sorted out. But I think what we're looking at is seeing is that if there's anything from a Sandoval perspective we can do to help nudge this along in terms of reminding them there's about maybe 1,000 voters in this community that are affected by this decision.
And I think that's a good example of, I think a lot of people are under the impression that the Strategic Planning Committee is mainly dealing with social and amenities, where this is a good example of how we need to be conscientious of external, of what's happening externally, all new developments, and looking at how is that impacting Sandoval. And a lot of what's in the current strategic plan, you will see actually that a lot of it has been achieved. We meet with all the committees and look at what are the committees working on and how they fit into the mission and vision for Sandoval. And just, so we really need new members. We currently have 2 advisors, but we need more members.
Yeah, I'd just like to put in my 2 cents. Strategic planning has a lot of ambitions, not only in terms of trying to provide guidance for the community in the short to medium term, but I think there's a strong interest to get more knowledgeable about what's coming outside our gates and how we can have a positive influence on what's going on outside our gates. So,
I think a really good example of what came out of the strategic one thing that came out, and that was the establishment of a rules committee.
Yep.
So when we meet with all the committees and we find out what is it that they're working on and how can we implement that in the strategic plan.
okay. Very good. Any questions?
Yeah, if I can add, speaking outside the gates, just outside the gates, Hayden Lane with an E.
Yes.
There's been some movement there on one of the vacant lots. I know Marilyn was instrumental.
Marilyn is now, she's still an advisor to the committee, and she's specifically working on, will continue to work on that aspect.
If you needed any help from me.
We sure will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, good. All right, any other questions on strategic planning? Okay, very good. All right, so our next board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 30th at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Do we have any residents that wish to ask questions or comments now at the end of the meeting? Okay, good. Yes, Lynn?
When you make an application, what is the fee for, Andrew, what is the fee for if you want to do something to your lawn or your...
All right, so there is a non-refundable $25 application fee. That is for the process, to cover the cost of processing. Then the deposit is different based on the project that you are tackling. For instance, the roof projects will have a $500 refundable deposit. Pools and lanais have a $1,000 refundable deposit. Okay, so the process real quickly looks like this. You do your application, assuming everything fits as needed, and is reviewed by the front office. Front office sends that to the ARC committee for review. We double check everything, make sure insurance is lined up as it's supposed to. The project is compliant with the architectural standards. We approve that. You go ahead and do out the project. When the project's done, you're supposed to contact us. So it's complete, so we can do a review of the completed project. At that point, the project is deemed to be in the scope of work that was approved. You get that deposit returned. If it's deemed not to be in the project that was approved, that deposit is held until you make the corrections and get a final approved review. Kind of how the process looks. Okay. So just so everybody knows, again, for the community, that is a $500 deposit starting July 1, again, for roofs, and $1,000 for your lanai cages. Just want people to be aware of that. Yeah, I want to give you time to get in those applications now to avoid those.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
A question reference roof colors. And you violate the roof color, rumors is that there's a $1,000 fine and then that's it? There's no further action with people that have roofs that don't meet code?
There's a $1,000 fine, and as Bill outlined earlier today, we are beginning to reach out to those that have not rectified their roof situation since receiving that fine, and are seeking a settlement agreement with them. And there's additional clauses.
Additional ramifications with that settlement
clauses within that settlement agreement.
And we can't, because it's still a confidential process, we can't disclose the terms of the settlement agreement, but if it's successfully concluded, it'll be part of the public record associated with that property.
All right, because I just settled with my insurance company finally.
Yeah.
And there's homes where I live that just put up roofs, whatever color they wanted, and they said, well, I just paid a $1,000 fine.
Well, the whole board is taking advantage of every tool that we've got in our toolkit to deal with that situation.
So we have a full committee now, so when I send my application in, okay.
We only missed, an error said the April 6th meeting. That was one in which we did not have quorum. It was moved to the 10th, but we did meet twice this month as we normally do.
Rather than think that's a rampant problem, we've had 5 out of the 500 homes. It's not a rampant problem of people throwing it in their faces.
Yeah, there's just one in my,
Yeah.
one particular.
Yeah, so I think the positive news, and I think, I'd just like to, I'm gonna steal a quote from Todd. Positive news is about 99% of the community has followed the rules.
99 plus, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we got to focus on, is from a positive aspect, and then we're dealing with, we're dealing within the confines of Florida law and our governing documents with the less than 1% that chose not to follow the rules.
My neighbor, that's something he wants to, I'm just going to do whatever I want, pay $1,000. I'm going to go right now.
Well,
Chill out.
what I would suggest is put in your application with a roof color that follows design guidelines, and any neighbor that is dealing with the process, let our lawyer deal with them. Let's not engage them on this.
Now, it's 2 colors that we submit, right? Do we submit 2 colors for?
You only have to, you just have to submit one, assuming that it's within the guidelines.
Right.
So again, if you're talking argument's sake, Ashbury, the circle, that is a red or tan roof, terracotta or tan roof. Okay. There is a nice wide range that the committee has approved within those color types.
Yeah.
You're going to bring us a dark brown roof. That is a situation where you may be questioned as to changing that, because that's not an approved color.
Yeah, there was a dark brown metal roof, but there's also like a gingerbread metal with like an asphalt coating on it. That's also brown, but apparently that's approved. It's American oak and it's a slate.
Again, I can't answer those questions. So, yeah. Again, just giving you guidance. Please, as to stress, as we've asked, just continue to cooperate. It helps for everybody's own values to stay nice and consistent.
Yeah.
I got you. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments to discuss? Okay.